What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Blerd Out. We got some good stuff for you today. Naturally, the newest chapter is out. One Piece 1145 has dropped. You know we gonna talk about it, but also we got Nintendo Direct dropping some bangers. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit too. As always, if you're not caught up to the latest chapters episodes, please know that there will be spoilers ahead.
Spoilers.
Okay, so before we dive into the chapter, let's talk about Nintendo Direct. And we're not going to cover the entire thing because there's some stuff that I'm not really that interested in. But they dropped a few gems I've been waiting for. So obviously I want to hit on those a little bit. First off, we have the date. So we got June 5th, 2025. Switch 2 is dropping. So that's real soon. And it's dropping at $450. I'm not going to lie, I think that's a little much. Essentially for... I guess in the grand scheme of things, I think we are a little overpriced. I would say $350 would have been a better price. I could see $400 being like the max. And to be fair, they did upgrade a lot of stuff, but the original Switch was $250, and it was very like, you paid $250 for a very old console, seemingly. Because even at $250 when the Switch was new, the hardware was just old. And to be fair, it can still run games well, but you're selling old hardware. Like, let's not pretend that this is the newest stuff. This is, you know, an old 720p, no OLED screen that you're selling to us. It had like minimum memory. It was a slow CPU. Like, it wasn't an advanced console, and we still paid $250 for it. This is more of a generation matching console. I don't think it's worth the $450. Because a PlayStation 5 is $400, isn't it? Can't you get I'm looking it up right now. I think you can get a PS5 for $399. Digital edition you can get for $374. If you want like the upgraded edition, you're paying more like $450. Basically, like, yeah, you can get a PS5 for this price. And I think that the specs on the PS5 do constitute that price, even if they're not being utilized properly. The Switch, I mean, so let's see here. It's got the 120 hertz screen. I think it's actually doing 1080p, like natively. That's just straight up. The screen is still LCD, so it's not an OLED screen off the bat. It's got 256 gigs of storage, much better. It has like, I think, a mic and camera built in with some noise canceling, which is nice. It has better upgrades. Like, it's a better console than the previous one. It's not $450. Like, you're at some point you are paying for the exclusivity of some of the games you're getting. I think that's where like the extra $50 to $100 comes in, which, to be fair, nothing we can really do about that. I mean, we're not gonna find some of these Nintendo games elsewhere, so they have all the open area to charge that premium and get away with it. Because even now, I'm still considering buying it. Like, I still want this, even though I think it's overly priced. They slapped game chat. So basically they created their own version of Discord for a Switch. That's going to be, I can't imagine it being great, is what I'm going to say. I think it would have been better if they just kind of like bit the bullet and incorporated Discord like Xbox and PlayStation have. They created their own thing, and I think it's going to be jank and laggy because I don't think they've ever had a really solid communication platform. And I can't see this one being any different, especially because I'm pretty sure this device is going to be operated wirelessly most times, so it's not gonna look great. They even put out a Switch camera to go with it, and I think the new Switch has a couple extra ports, USB-C ports, so you can probably plug in a few different devices. They're trying to do a lot with basically grouping Switches together. It's like, oh, you want a Switch 2, especially if your friends have a Switch 2. Like that makes it more enticing. It's a very Apple business practice. And I think it's gonna work. Like as much as you can critique a lot of the things they're doing here, I think they're going to work pretty well. Nintendo has a way of like convincing you this is the way it's gonna be and that you're okay with it. Because they're even dropping games at what, $80? $80 for a Nintendo game is insane. I remember back with DS, where you got a DS game. DS games were like $39.99 compared to like PS3 or like Xbox games. They were usually about $60. And with the jump to most of these games being $70, Nintendo games being $80 to $90 is insane. I will not be paying that price regardless. I mean, there's literally only one game right now that's calling to me, and that's Silksong. And as far as I know, it's not a Switch exclusive. I know it was announced at Direct and through Nintendo. I don't think it's a Switch exclusive. I'm gonna look that up right now. It might be a Nintendo exclusive, but maybe not a Switch 2 exclusive. I would hope that there's no way they're just doing it for Switch. I can't see them losing out on such a big market when they have it on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Should just be like, all right, we're only Switch now. So I'm guessing it's not going to be. It might be exclusive to Switch for a time. Like they might have like a 6-month exclusivity on it before it branches out. We'll see. I don't think there's any game that Nintendo has that merits an $80 price tag. The most you could say would be Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. Even those I would say cap at $70. $80, $90 is ludicrous. They have to do something about that. There's no way they can, make what they're expecting off that. It does look like the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, which it's crazy that we have to check and see that for things nowadays. That should always be a thing. It does look like they're going to play the same. I think the cartridges are like literally the same build, just different colors. So that's fine. All in all, like it's cool. Like I always love new technology. I love new game technology. Just the pricing is just terrible. Like this is the pricing of a company that knows people are going to pay it. They know they have a lot of people in the bag with this and that they really don't have to compete with anyone. Like Nintendo has always existed in a way where they don't have to compete with Sony and Microsoft for gaming. They have their own exclusive ecosystem of games and technology and hardware that thrives without competition. The Switch 2 sells regardless of what Sony and Xbox are doing. Where you have like Xbox and PlayStation constantly going against each other, trying to price match, trying to feature match, exclusive match. Nintendo's just out here doing whatever they want. Like I said, I love the stuff. The pricing is just, it's not it. But we got Silksong, which is the biggest takeaway. I have been waiting for Silksong for a long time. Very similar vein to how I was waiting for the last course, Lister's last course for Cuphead. So finally seeing that come out, I love it. I want to do a games episode actually, and considering One Piece is on break, I might do it in the next episode if I don't do a season break. We'll see on that. Also, the anime is back, or the anime will be back. So I'll probably do a video on that on the main channel of the new episodes. I don't think I'll cover the special because it's supposed to be super long, and also it's a recap, so I don't think I need to do all that. But I might do the 2 back-to-back episodes and put those on the channel. Keep an eye out for that as well. Well, let's talk chapters. Let's talk One Piece 1145. First off, we got the color spread. which is basically it's the crew all just chilling, watching the anime, which I love a lot. It's very cool because you have Luffy looking at himself in Gear 5, and he's like pointing to himself like, hey, that's me, I'm on the big screen, which is, it's very heartwarming to see. You have the rest of the crew just kind of just chilling, enjoying things. At first I thought Zoro was the only one who like really wasn't hanging out with everybody because he's got like his back turned. I didn't notice there's also a TV. Basically, there's one TV where he's looking, so like he's still part of it. He's just being Zoro, you know, being his loner wolf thing. But it's a great color spread. I love it. Of course, we celebrate the hype of the anime coming back. You'd love to see it. We also get a cover story. So we got more of the pilgrimage. We have Ulti basically picking up page 1 and just confirming that, you know, he's still alive. He's still beat up. He's still got chains on him, but he's alive. It looks like Ulti doesn't have any chains on her. And we get Yamato in the background. You know, I was at this already. I'm pretty sure they're going to team up. We'll just have to wait and see on the next one. I'm just glad that we're still seeing Ulti here. I know she was absent from the last one, but I expect there to be more with her. I really want this to lead to Kaido. I just do. Because I need more Kaido. Into the chapter itself, we start off with the underworld. There's a giant dinosaur attacking the Loki group. And then I always forget Hydruden's crew's names. Well, I always forget people who aren't Road, Hydruden, and Gerd. I think this is Goldberg. Goldberg the cook, if I recall correctly. He's getting attacked by this dinosaur, and he has a shield that can talk. It can also change size, which is really cool. So he blocks the dinosaur's first attack. The dinosaur reels back, and then we get a combo from Zoro and Sanji, which we haven't seen in a while. The power shot. I'm trying to think of the last time they did power shot, and I want to say Thriller Bark. And think of, they didn't do it in Dressrosa. They didn't do it in Punk Hazard, Whole Cake, Wano. I think it was Thriller Bark was the last time we saw power shot. I could be wrong on that. That's the last time I remember it, I guess. But they do power shot, launches Zoro straight in there. Zoro clean cuts the dinosaur's head off. Schmeezy. And Goldberg and Sanji are basically talking to each other about cooking it because they're the cooks. As they're talking about that, Zoro starts talking about Goldberg's shield, which is interesting because he says the shield basically has a soul in it from back when his dad went to take down Big Mom. And there's a lot to unpack from that, because this would indicate that at some point Big Mom and the Giants had another altercation. What was supposed to happen was that after she ate everybody, the Giants were supposed to like have never communicated with her again. Now we know that through some means, Loki and Lola were supposed to get married. So there was some peace between Big Mom and the Giants that was going to allow that. And we know that obviously he fell through as well. But there's also an altercation here where some Giants went to go fight Big Mom and this shield was made. Now the shield seems to know of Zeus, which is interesting. It makes me believe that there's some kind of soul connection. I don't know if this means that that shield is made from Big Mom's soul, or if it means that the shield is just created from her powers. Because he does say that Zeus is like one of the top commanders of the homies. So he's speaking to Zeus as if he is a higher rank than him. So I feel like that rules out him being part of Big Mom's, own soul. But I didn't think there was like an interconnectivity of the souls. Like, I thought they kind of communicated as people do, whereas information gets by souls talking to souls. But I guess it also depends on how the shield was made, and if it was like a gift. Well, no, actually, it can't be a gift because they went to take down Big Mom. It had to be an altercation in which she brought the shield to life, and then maybe someone took the shield with them. That's probably more accurate. Either way, that's a very interesting piece of lore, and I hope we come back to that. They mentioned that Zeus is Nami's servant now, so I'm guessing there's going to be an interaction between the shield and Zeus at some point. We go back to Loki, and he's given up information on the Gods Knights, basically Gunko and Shamrock, who showed up and put the beat down on him. And initially, they kind of blame Loki for this. They're like, you probably did something bad when you were out to sea. Like, before Shanks brought you in, you was out there messing things up, and that's why they came for you. And Loki says that he really hadn't done anything by the time he got brought back. He said that if he'd gone that far to like incur the wrath of the Gods Knights, he would be a high-ranking person in the world. Like, I think this translation says king of the world. I don't know if he's up like king of the world, king of the pirates, king of something. He would be up there. But he's saying basically he didn't really do a whole lot when he was out there, which concerns me, because if he didn't do a whole lot when he was out there, that means that there's not a lot of information from him. Like, there shouldn't be a lot collected of this man. In that case, someone had to deliver information to the world government for the Gods Knights to move like that. The only person I can think of that would do that would be Shanks. Which doesn't necessarily mean he's a snitch, but it puts him in a weird spot. Because someone had to say, hey, there's a giant in Elbaf. That's kind of crazy. Because Loki even has a special issued bounty. So it's like, the world government knows about him. The world doesn't. And as far as I can tell, Loki didn't get that far in the world, and Shanks was the one who brought him back. So the person that would probably have the most sway in talking about Loki enough to get the world government to issue a bounty would be Shanks. So I find that very interesting. Goldberg, Zoro, and Sanji come back with the food. They cook it up. It's mealtime. And in typical Luffy fashion, Luffy is not good with sick or injured people. He does not know how to help them. He does not know how to heal them. We saw it with Zoro. We saw it with Nami. He just shoves food. He shoves sake in their mouth and hope that works. That's what he's doing here. He's like force feeding Loki food. And like, this is like food hot off the grill. He just has it pressed against Loki's face. Boy's getting cooked. And Loki's like, bruh, chill out. I got this. You ain't gotta be here. And like, Loki starts eating, and then Luffy comes in with soup to help him. And like, the soup is piping hot too. And Luffy just throws that on him, and it's like, bruh, chill out. Like, Luffy, I think Luffy really wants to know what he knows about Shanks. That's one of the reasons why he's so excitable right now. But this is, like I said, this is also how Luffy kind of deals with people who are sick or hurt. Like, he tries to help them. Obviously, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just making things worse. But his intentions are there. And Gerd's over here, like, good job, you're doing great, to Luffy. And I mean, Gerd, she low-key a hater. Like, she's low-key a top-tier hater, because she does the same thing with Road. Like, with Loki here, she's just like, nice. And I think to some degree it's probably warranted, more so with Road than it is Loki, but it's just funny. And they're talking about the promise they made to Loki about, we free Loki, we get the information on Red Hair. And while they're talking about how it's probably a lie, Loki says that no, I know stuff about Shanks, but you guys just haven't unchained me yet. I'm still locked up, so I'm not giving you the information. So I'm wondering if we're gonna have Luffy and Zoro try to unlock him again, even with like Hydroid and everybody here. We get some thought bubbles from Hydroid, so I'm assuming he's thinking about what Loki said with the murder of his father. And we also get some lore from Loki, because Loki's like, okay, I understand you want to hear about Shanks, you look up to Shanks. I've been that way before. And he talks about how he also had a pirate that he looked up to. And that leads us to a flashback where we see Loki talking to a shadow figure. And it's weird. As Oda does silhouettes, you know, sometimes we don't understand who's who and what's what. When I saw this silhouette, I immediately knew who it was. And I think it's mainly because of the hair. But it's obviously Roxy Zebek. So at some point, Rox ended up at Elbaf. And Loki wanted to go with him out to sea. A very similar story to Luffy and Shanks, but I think with a darker tone, because instead of like, you know how Shanks tells Luffy to grow up, become a great pirate, we'll talk. Zebek's like, nah, I don't want no dumb kids. And then challenged Loki to a fight and beat him up. Which is in one way hilarious. Because why is he beating up kids? Like, and Loki's a giant. I'm sure that Zebek knows that Loki is stronger than him just being a kid. But still, like the way they show him, because they show like Whitebeard talking to Zebek being like, bro, you just beat up a kid. And they show Loki on the ground like bloody and tattered, like he didn't just like box with him, he busted this kid up. And Loki mentions that he was just born in the wrong era. Basically, if he was born earlier and had aged enough, he thinks he could have gone with Zebek. I think it also plays a role in the fact that, you know, we have the Sovereign, we have like different people born at different times. I think Loki was more suited to being born now because we're going to have him in the final battle, as opposed to him being in Rox's era where even like a Roger was like, yeah, we're not ready yet. It's not time yet. So I think if Loki was born when he kind of thinks he should have been, that would have been too early, I want to say. We cut back to, I think it's like the western coastline. We have Dory, Broggy, and everybody fighting up against the imagination creatures, and they're pretty much taking them down. Like, they're not really struggling with any of them. You got Scopper out here swiping them out. And they're basically counting like, these aren't like scary, terrifying monsters. Like, yeah, they're bad, they're giant, but we're just glad that the kids don't really know what these monsters are like. And then Scopper mentioned something about a strange voice. So like, I'm guessing observation hockey. And I don't know if this is the same voice as what he was doing earlier with like the hockey, or if he's hearing like the voice being given off by the creatures. Because he mentions like there's more creatures. I can sense about 3 more. You know, that voice can't be hidden. I can feel it clear as day. So he's sensing something. I can't tell if it's the creatures themselves or like the people creating the creatures. But he says that if even Elbaf isn't safe, that basically nowhere is. Which is an interesting remark, considering I didn't consider Elbaf to be... I guess there are certain places I consider to be safe havens. I can see Elbaf being one of those, like say like Wano being one of those. But you can also see how easy it is to infiltrate those areas and take them down. So I'm like, I get it, but also we've kind of seen how that works before. We have some other giants trying to put out the fires. They're not doing a great job. The fire is roaring, and the kids are basically like in the fire. Like they're 5-6 steps away from the fire itself, We got Saul trying to call people and get them to stop. And it looks like Saul just straight up took out Fenrir. Like he's standing on top of it, so that wasn't an issue for him. It doesn't seem like the imagination creatures are all too powerful. They're probably just really big and intimidating. But as far as like giants go, I guess this should be expected. And we actually have Gunko and Summers watching, trying to see if the kids are going to just walk into the fire. If they're not doing anything about that. They're just waiting to see what happens. And Summers seems to be really enjoying it. But we got Big Goat Jinbei, Kaizuni Panzioi, which, by the way, I think is my favorite Jinbei move. It's the one I use in Pirate Wars all the time. Because he's Panzioi. I absolutely love that move. So every time I see it, what is it? Ocean Current Shoulder Throw? Is that what it's called? That's the English translation of it. I love that one. And I love that, because Jinbei's used this a lot. I love that every time Jinbei uses it, Oda draws that same panel of Jinbei being in the water and the water kind of like curling around him. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I already know what he's about to do. And he hit him with the Ipanzioi. And that pretty much clears out the fire. Like, that one Ipanzioi does more than any of the firefighters were doing, which just goes to show that they were in fact useless, as we thought before. Thank you for nothing. Like, why? What? Maybe they should get like a Fishman Giant. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but the fire brigade seems to be lacking. Yeah, the entire fire is out. The kids are still moving forward, which isn't great, but they're not moving forward into fire, which is great. And I like that Chopper and Robin recognized that Jinbei was the one who put out the fires when everyone else is like, yeah, the fire squad, they did it. But the Straw Hats are like, yeah, it's Jinbei. We know Jinbei when we see Jinbei. And we're on the boat with Colin still, and he's talking about how everyone in school hates him, but he still wants him to be safe. I would wonder why the school hates him so much. I think to some degree it's because he hasn't conformed to the idea of like the peaceful giant way of life. I don't know if that's the reason they necessarily should hate him. I can understand them wanting him to change, but it's kind of sad that he feels ostracized to that extent. But Gunko shows up on their ship. So we have Gunko here with Colin, Usopp, Brooks, Jinbei, and Nami. And, you know, I don't have a strength feat on Gunko quite yet. She seems pretty confident about being here, and she knows the Straw Hats, so she should know who's on this boat right now. But she seems pretty confident nonetheless, so I think she's either going to take Colin and leave, or she's going to scrap a little bit, take Colin and leave. One or the other. I think she's going to take Colin, which is going to incur the wrath of Luffy, Zoro, and Gaban. So we'll see. Either way, it looks like Gunko is ready for action. I want to see if any of the others are going to be getting more involved. Again, I need more Killingham, so I kind of hope he gets involved, but whoever he's fighting is going to have a hard time. But that is a chapter, and we do have a break next week. Solid chapter, cool stuff going on here. I like this encounter here with Gunko. I want to see where that goes. I think that'll be interesting. I want to see more of Goldberg's shield, that lore. I need more of that. I need more Loki Zebek lore. Why was Zebek in Elbaf? Like, that's the biggest question I have from this chapter. Like, what brought them here? And this is during the era of Rock's Pirates if Whitebeard is here with him. So it's like, was Kaido here? Was Big Mom here? Like, was that the moment where we got that shield from? Even though it seems like when Zebek was here, it wasn't hostile, because like Loki was like, take me with you and stuff like that. Like, it didn't seem like they had like a hostile interaction, but there's so much there that I want to see. So hopefully we expound on that in the next chapter. But this was a fun one. This was great. Like I said, we are on break, so if I don't do the video game episode next week, it will be a break week, and we will probably transition into season 6 of the podcast. That is yet to be decided. Also, like I said, when the anime is back, I'm going to be doing that on the main channel, so keep an eye out for that as well. But that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.